It's really cold outside. I'm joined by my colleague and friend, Carl Francis Jr. Say what's
Hello.
up to the people, Carl.
What's going on, everyone? How are you? Glad to be here this afternoon with you.
Carl, tell everybody what you do here at the Nflpa.
Well, I'm the Director of Communications, and I work very closely with Jordan managing the image and the programs and the initiatives in protecting the wellness and health of all of our members. And so I'm just glad to be here with you to talk a little bit about what we do every day.
I love it, and one of the things that we do a lot, we tell a lot of funny stories, because tell the people how long you've been at the PA.
Well, I like to say...
You know I was going to lead with this.
I know. Well, to just be honest, I've been here for 22 years.
22 years. That's a lot of stories.
There's a lot of stories, a lot of back-end conversations that have taken place in this great place. So,
and you know, I started here in 2009, and when I first came in, I'd never met an NFL player before, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you had been in the job at that point, if my math is correct, for a long time.
A long time.
So I learned a lot from you about players, but I also learned a lot from you about how this place was set up when you worked closely with Gene. And you know, I want to ask you sort of and have you retell a couple of stories that you have shared with me about Gene and how he sort of viewed this job and some of the things that have rubbed off on you from working with him.
Well, working with Gene was really somewhat intimidating adventure because Gene had been around so long, and obviously he's a Hall of Famer, he's a great leader. And so the first thing you realize about Gene is that he's really a good guy, but he really is passionate. He really was passionate about working with our players. And just my first day on the job, my office was empty, and he came in my office and said, "I really don't know what to call you, but I'll figure it out when I get back from the Super Bowl." And that took about a week. So for a week, I did not have a title. I was just that guy in that office over there. And he put a bunch of court cases in front of me and said, "Read them," like I really knew what I was looking at. And so I just had to wait it out. But it's tell you what, it's been truly an adventure. And just piggybacking on what you said, it's been also since Gene's passing, it's been great working with you guys, because D has really brought a new edge, and where we are today in our business, I think we've really grown as an organization to encompass a lot of new things in our business model that has really helped us get to where we are today.
So that's one of the things we try to do here on these weekly episodes, if you will, is we want the audience, as small or large as it may be, to learn a little bit about our organization, to take you inside what we're trying to accomplish and how, frankly, we serve players. We heard today, and obviously we want to learn about the person in the chair over here. Today we have a pretty good guest, I have to say. So one thing we learned, we had an all-staff meeting today. We all sat down in the Garvey Center.
Mm-hmm.
We all contemplated on our particular roles, but we also learned about what we do in crisis situations. We've had Bahati from the Trust, we've had Andre and Nolan from the PAF and from our former players department respectively, and we'll eventually get Tyrone on the show too, but that's got to be one of the proudest moments, don't you think, of knowing and learning about how we deal with crises. You've seen a lot of those in 22 years.
Well, I'm going to reverse the role, because I do think it's been incredible to watch. And, you know, I've been a part of a number of extensions, and I've been a part of 9/11, a lot of crises here, but really none bigger than the lockout we faced. And I want to talk to you about coming in. I want to switch this a little bit.
That's not how this is supposed to go.
This is
It's just you and me talking.
We just talking. We're just having a conversation, right? So tell me how it felt. Okay, you were here like maybe a year or two and coming in, and this is kind of like a new venture, just dealing in the world of sports. And you and D really came with a lot of great ideas, and you told us, hey, whatever you have on your mind, whatever you want to do, let's just do it to advance our membership. Tell us what went into your ideas about putting together a plan in preparation of the lockout and during the lockout.
Do I get the football?
Absolutely. Handoff.
So I did not expect you to switch it up on me like that. But I think you look, it really reflects well on how everybody in this building works together and focused on the mission of what we were trying to do. Because it really wasn't about one person. As long as we keep the players in the locker room
Absolutely.
top of mind, and the players who held those lockers who are no longer playing, the rest of it sort of becomes not easy, but it's very clear what your job and your focus should be. D, as the executive director, is just that. He's the executive that directs the staff to fulfill the mission of what we're trying to accomplish as players, or what the players are trying to accomplish and achieve their objectives. But look, for us and for our team, Carl, like, that was always the focus. Like, we took a lot of risks. We did a lot of crazy things.
Right, a lot of crazy things.
We really, I think, pushed the limits in terms of how we started to engage on this new thing called social media, which I know you're getting used to.
Don't say that. I do have an Instagram account.
You do. I know you do.
Thanks, Louis. Appreciate that, helping me out.
But we got to change your profile pic, though. Louis, speaking of Louis, we got a comment or a question coming in.
Yep, we got one from V Lee 21. How many active player versus retired player members does the PA represent today?
We have close to 2,000 active players who we represent, including players who are on the practice squad. People forget that we rep those guys as well. And how large of a former player membership list would you say we have?
I would say about 5,000. About 5,000 members.
I was going to go with 10, but
10,000.
I mean, I always exaggerate.
Yeah, we're in the middle of that space somewhere. And thanks for the question, Bernie.
Yeah. Let's say we'll double check.
Yeah,
Can we get that
we'll
person's
get back with you.
contact? I think we're closer to 10,000, but I'm going to defer to Carl over here. We have another question?
Nope.
Okay, that's good.
All right.
College national championship game was last night.
Right.
A lot of those guys are going to be our future members.
Yes.
You have seen countless players cycle through the NFL. Can you provide some objective perspective on players who have done it, who've come out of college from big-time programs and have done it right?
Wow, that's
from your experience.
That's a hard question because, like you said, for 22 years, there's been so many that have done it right. I can't even begin. I tell you what I'll do because I can't think of that one. It's so many. But what I would like to say is how we as an organization have really taken this space seriously of working backwards with our membership. And that's something that we have taken a very strong position on. And when I say backwards, meaning from the high school space to college all the way up to our membership. And Dee has done a great job of identifying that we really need to get our hands on athletes in earlier and really providing them with a roadmap of how to be not just successful football players, but successful, productive people. And that roadmap starts off with our scholastic director. I'm sure you'll meet at some point, George Hageman, and then we'll move into pipeline to the pros with Willis, and then on to Don Davis, who works with our active players, he and Dana Hammonds. And with that alone, looking at the game last night, you say to yourself, we are going to meet those guys like, what, the next month?
Yeah.
The next month?
Yeah.
Or two? And so it's always gratifying when you watch a game and you look at all the features that they do prior to the game, you kind of getting a roadmap as to, okay, how to communicate with them.
I think we're going to have a couple of office visits in the next 2 weeks from draft-eligible juniors.
Yes.
See, we broke a little news on this.
There we go.
I can't remember who they are. I don't know that we want to
No, but that's
share all of our secrets in one live stream at one moment, but I think we will have a couple of draft-eligible juniors come through.
Absolutely.
To learn about the PA and
So I have another question.
Oh,
so,
boy.
No. Okay.
This is not going to be about basketball, right?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
I'm not. No basketball on another segment. But look, let's talk a little bit about our new digital team. I mean,
for real?
It is awesome. Like, we have my guy Lewis, Stephanie, and then our other team, Brandon and Caitlin. Let's just talk about, like, you led this charge in making sure that we. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
No.
Yes, you did. You led it. to talk about where we are today, and like we're taking on this whole robust vision of how we deliver our message as an organization to the general public, and more importantly to our membership. Can you talk about what went into what you were thinking when you brought this team together?
We need more players to engage with us. We
Okay.
need more players to know what it is that we're doing inside these walls. We need
Great.
more players to understand the work of the people that you mentioned on this, in your previous, comment. It's not just about, we love them, but it's not just about D. Smith. It's about the people who have been on this, little thing that we've started here. Terry. Speaking of D,
that's D.
here we go. Hey,
let's grab him. Let's grab him.
no, I'm not going to talk. Should we talk to him?
Yeah, talk to him.
Should we talk to him?
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it.
D, you're on the Facebook live stream. Say hi to the people.
Hey, D.
It's me and Carl is the special guest today. So, no, you can get to
Say hi.
So
Say hi,
you're
say hi.
literally live.
No, you're literally live,
We're
D.
sitting in front of the cameras right now. So there you go.
There you go.
All right, I'll call you back as soon as this segment is done. Carl, what do you think about another 10 minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, I'll call you right back. Peace. That's part of the fun of it.
That's
we have a
what
question?
happens.
2 questions?
Uh-oh.
Two
Here we go.
questions.
Here we
Oh,
go.
boy.
One from Frank Calderoni. Do former NFL players and retired players get the same benefits and pensions?
Do they get the same, so as active players or just?
I'm assuming they're thinking as active players.
Well, let me answer the question this way. The former players who are no longer in the league get their pensions and benefits plans based on the most recent collective bargaining agreement that was signed in 2011. So the benefits plans that they get, the pension money that they get, the legacy fund benefit that they get, all of those things were increased by roughly $1 billion in 2011.
That's right.
And they come out of the players' portion of revenues in the NFL. So, good quick economic note. What was that person's name?
Frank Calderoni.
Frank, when you have your favorite team and you know that their salary cap is $155 million, one thing that doesn't get reported because it's not based on the players that your team might sign in free agency is that there's roughly $40 million on top of that per team in benefits that goes not just towards the active players, but goes towards the former players as well. So thanks for the question. We got
Thanks,
another
Frank.
question.
Second question. What's a top player concern that needs to be addressed that is not really being covered by the media?
That's a fantastic question.
It's always health.
Yeah.
Health and safety of our members. I mean, that's something that's overlooked. I mean, our players play a very violent and very aggressive sport. And so every day, and that's one thing also I must attribute to Gene and our staff is, not Gene, D and our staff.
But
is
Gene
just-
was part of the
Gene,
starting.
I was just thinking about where we are today.
Yeah.
But Gene definitely started that path of identifying ways to protect our members. But as of today, D has done a tremendous job of really making sure concussion awareness is important with our concussion protocol practices that we monitor every week with our members, and just ensure that our players are protected weekly through things such as field conditions, through equipment, protection, just a number of different areas where we've really built up our platform and ensuring that our players are protected on and off the field.
And to drill down on the health and safety thing, I'm going to say workers' compensation.
That's very important.
You could also forward them to our YouTube channel to watch the last one that you did with former players.
There you go. Good point. See, we were talking about the digital team that
Yeah.
actually contributed
Thank you,
something
Louis.
today. Thanks, Louis. Louis said that you can check out our YouTube page, youtube.com/NFLPA. Is that right? Look at that. I even got the thing right. For the last one, we go through benefits pretty comprehensively.
I have another question.
Fire away.
This one's really tough.
Oh, man.
All right. How do you sign a collective bargaining agreement that allows the commissioner to be judge, jury, and executioner for players and also the person to hear and make judgment on an appeal?
Do you see the man's name is on the football? Do you see? Did we sign that too? Did we sign that away in 2011?
Right.
I mean, look, we don't want to make light of it.
No.
You know, we have more of a barbershop attitude, I'd say,
Absolutely.
when we get together,
Absolutely.
which makes this a little less formal. But we didn't give away anything in 2011 related to commissioner discipline. The personal conduct policy has been in place in professional sports since 1908, after the baseball Black Sox scandal. So it's just a historical continuation of the commissioner holding certain powers. When the commissioner overreached in cases, before and after 2011, we pursued them, whether it was Bounty or Ray Rice, and won. When the commissioner exceeded his authority, in our view, in the Tom Brady case, we pursued that case and ultimately didn't win. The outcomes are not something that we particularly focus on too much. It is very much process oriented. So the same question that this kind person took the time to ask, they weren't asking those questions after we won Bounty and got that overturned. They weren't asking those questions after we got the Ray Rice decision overturned. It's a matter of what type of process do we want to have for our men and for our players, and is that something that the league's going to agree to? I mean, that's just pretty much a simple fact of the personal conduct policy and the collective bargaining agreement. Also, tell the people how many players this thing impacts per year.
Less than 3.
So if you're sitting on one side of the table, Carl, I say to you, I will give you neutral arbitration if you give me $1 billion back. And you're representing the players. What are you going to say?
Simple.
No!
No, absolutely.
So that's been a decision that our executive committee and player reps have made over the years in this area, in this space, and quite frankly, you win, you lose some decisions, but ultimately our job is to fight. Stephanie, we got 2 questions?
We got 2 more questions.
Wow.
Okay.
From Frank, following up, who says his favorite team is Philadelphia Eagles. So
Go
first,
Eagles.
Okay, all right.
First question.
Carson Wentz, baby. Malcolm Jenkins, actually, is a great guy.
First question, does the NFL or each team have to clear the player field and make sure it's okay for each game?
Yes. There are field standards that we put in place, actually, before the Hall of Fame debacle. That's why the Hall of Fame game got canceled.
Because of the field inspection process.
So we do have people who are there to inspect the fields to make sure that they're up to a certain standard, and there's all sorts of technical things that go into it, like how hard is the playing surface, is there enough space around the sidelines that's not just exposed concrete. So every year I think we do a good job of looking at areas that need to be improved and then work with the league to get those areas improved. Thanks, Frank. Question 2. That sounds like our biggest fan.
Oh, I like Frank.
Frank, we gotta
Frank's a
send
good
Frank
guy.
a t-shirt.
That's right.
Frank says, do former and current NFL players go to the same doctors like any other person goes to? Which touches back on the CBA and benefits and all that.
Yeah, well, when was the second medical opinion put in? That was Gene, right?
Yes, that was Gene back in the early 80s.
Players before Gene Upshaw was executive director did not have a right to get a second medical opinion to look at an injury. So the short answer is an NFL player can go to any doctor he wants.
Yeah.
That is a right that is protected in the collective bargaining agreement since the 80s.
Second medical, his own right to his own surgeon. All of that falls under that.
And we do everything we can to make sure that the team, is not pressuring the player into any sort of rash or bad medical decision that the player might not want to be involved with. Cool.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Awesome.
Thank you, everybody.
Carl,
We had a great time.
I do have to ask you a basketball question.
What? Ask
Okay,
it. Ask
here we
it,
go.
ask it.
Steph Curry or Russell Westbrook?
You know I'm not a Russ guy.
We had
So
this
I'm
debate
going
in the
Kyrie.
office all day.
Kyrie.
Kyrie! Oh, you
Kyrie
came with Kyrie
Irving. I gotta
Irving.
go Kyrie Irving. I'm not a Russ guy. I just can't be a Russ guy. I don't know
Okay.
what it is.
Well, on that note, folks, Cleveland fans, I hope you love your new favorite supporter, Carl Francis. This has been real. See you. Maybe we might have a surprise guest this week.
That's
We might
right.
have a surprise
Come
guest
back
this week.
again.
Stay tuned to our channels. Thanks for tuning in, and
Have a great
see you
week.
next time. Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.